and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Today I have another true crime ASMR video for you to enjoy. Today's video was recommended by Kimmycup Reacts. I will be including her channel in the description below. And she had recommended the disappearance of Bryce Laspisa. On the morning of August 30th, 2013, California Highway Patrol officers informed the parents of 19-year-old Bryce Laspisa that their son's car was found wrecked, driven off a 25-foot embankment near Castaic Lake, but there was no sign of Laspisa to be found. Today's video will be added to my true crime ASMR series playlist, where you can find past and future videos in this series. Now let's get into it. Bryce Laspisa was an only child born on April 30th, 1994. He was born to Karen and Michael Laspisa in Springfield, Illinois. He demonstrated artistic talent early on, as well as an easy, charming manner, which made him very popular and made it easy for him to make friends. In 2012, Laspisa graduated from high school. His parents, newly retired, decided to move the family to California, settling in Laguna Niguel in Orange County. Soon after arriving, Laspisa moved north to Roseville, which was just 90 miles past Sacramento. He was about to begin his freshman year studying graphic and industrial design at Sierra College. His first year went smoothly. He got good grades, formed a close friendship with his roommate, Sean Dixon, and began dating a fellow student named Kim Sly. During summer break, he told his parents, girlfriend, and friends that he was eager to go back to school. All seemed well, and his future bright. When Bryce returned to Sierra 2 weeks before classes were to resume, he seemed happy and eager to be there. Karen, his mother, described a phone call that they had had prior, and they spoke about his return, and she said it was normal. He attended classes and reunited with his friends. Soon, however, Bryce's life would seem to slowly unravel. Sean and Kim, his roommate and girlfriend, noticed subtle changes in Bryce's behavior. He had become more withdrawn, erratic, depressed. Kim recalled that Bryce admitted to taking Vivance, an amphetamine derivative used to treat ADHD, which was a condition he did not have. This medication had severe side effects, including psychosis, depression, and mania. Sean Dixon reported that Bryce began drinking hard liquor every day, as much as 2/5 in a single weekend, and confirmed Kim's claim that his roommate was taking Vivance. Bryce confessed to Kim that he had taken the drug to stay up playing video games, and although she was alarmed, he seemed dismissive. Something seemed to have gone terribly wrong with him, but no one was quite sure what happened. According to Sean and Kim, Bryce's use of Vivance became alarmingly frequent. During the first 2 weeks of the fall semester, on August 27th, he broke up with Kim by text message, saying she'd be better off without him. He also sent Sean an unusually heartfelt text message reading, "I love you, bro. Seriously. You are the best person I've ever met. You saved my soul." That same day, he'd given Sean his Xbox and gave away a pair of diamond earrings given to him by his mother. On August 28th, Sean called Karen Laspisa to tell her that he was worried about her son. Later that night, Bryce called Karen. He was at Kim's house, and she was concerned enough about his behavior that she'd taken the keys to his car away, believing he was in no condition to drive. He informed his mother of the argument, and Karen quickly convinced Kim to return his keys and told her son to go home and go to bed. Karen offered to fly out there to check on him, but he told her not to come until he'd spoken to her the next day. "I have a lot to talk to you about," he said. He left Kim's apartment at 11:30 p.m. At 1 a.m. on August 29th, Bryce would call his mother once more. She assumed he was calling from his apartment. Phone records later showed that he'd called from a location about an hour's drive south of Rockland. Then, at 11 a.m., she and her husband were notified that Bryce had used their insurance's roadside assistance service. A man named Christian, owner of Castro Tire, had arrived to assist Bryce. He reported that he had delivered 3 gallons of gas to Bryce after he ran out of fuel around 9 a.m. Christian offered to return to the spot where he'd seen Bryce. There, he discovered Bryce hadn't moved in hours. Christian approached to tell him that his parents were worried and called them to let them know their son's location. Bryce agreed to make the 3-hour drive home, and Christian watched as he drove off around 3 p.m. Hours would pass, and still Bryce's parents had not heard from him. So, reluctantly, they filed a missing persons report with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. By tracking his cell phone, 2 officers were able to locate him just a few miles from where Christian had seen him. The officers reported that he seemed lucid and friendly and showed no signs of intoxication, nor were any drugs or alcohol found in his vehicle. The police told Bryce that his parents were worried, and when he seemed hesitant to call them, he finally dialed them. The police actually dialed them for him. Karen told Bryce to please come home and called Christian to check on him. By this point, Michael and Karen were relieved when Christian called to confirm their son had gotten back onto I-5 and was heading south. At 2 a.m. on August 30th, Bryce called his mother one last time to tell her that he was too tired to drive anymore and would pull off the road to sleep. She agreed with the decision and expected to see him in the morning. But when the doorbell rang 6 hours later, it wasn't their son the Laspisas would find at their door. It was the California Highway Patrol officer. They had found Bryce's car abandoned near Castaic Lake. The rear window had been shattered, and his phone, laptop, and wallet were found inside, but there was no trace of Bryce himself. Surveillance footage showed that at 2:15 a.m. he turned onto an access road rather than pulling off for a roadside nap. Divers would go through the Castaic Lake and find no trace of Bryce. Police dogs tracked his scent across a bridge to a nearby truck stop where the trail went cold. On September 4th, 2013, charred remains were found near Castaic Lake, but they were found to not belong to Bryce Laspisa. 4 years later, a skull was found off nearby Templin Highway. This was also ruled out. Similar reports over the years have also left investigators empty-handed. Without a body, detectives were unable to close this case. A number of theories were proposed to explain Laspisa's disappearance, some stating he'd left behind his phone and wallet, that he'd intended to abandon his old life for a new one, either under an assumed identity or off the grid. It is also possible that his drug and alcohol use provoked a psychotic break, or withdrawal from Vyvanse caused a sudden, severe depression. It's also possible that he did die on or around the night of August 30th, and his remains have yet to be found. Whatever the truth, his disappearance was a tragedy for those close to him. His mother Karen would state, "I'll never give up hope, but it's really difficult. It's gut-wrenching. Every day, not knowing. It's a living nightmare." Whatever the truth, his disappearance was a tragedy to his family. Bryce's mother Karen states, "I'll never give up hope, but it's really difficult," his mother told reporters. "It's gut-wrenching, every day, not knowing. It's a living nightmare." In the years since his disappearance, no further clues have emerged. His parents still issue missing persons posters and remain hopeful that someday they'll learn the truth. Now, that is the case of Bryce Laspisa. As far as my thoughts on this one, it is possible he started a new life, but I truly think this was a mental health issue. I think Bryce was trying to find something to keep him up, and that led to Vyvanse, which I think led to this severe decline in his mental health. Vyvanse gives you a euphoric, feel-good feeling and is comparable to Adderall, but lasts way longer. Adderall can last up to 4 to 6 hours when Vyvanse lasts for 12. They give similar effects or feelings to the user, but as I said, Vyvanse lasts longer. I think Bryce had become addicted to this feeling, and you continuously see people who are depressed or shy that fall into this hole of substance abuse because these medications give them that false happiness or confidence or whatever outcome they're trying to achieve, because they're forcing their brains to give them an increased amount of norepinephrine and dopamine. And when you're constantly doing that, you're training your brain to depend on that medication or drug in order for you to get these chemicals. It becomes a never-ending cycle, and I'm sure Bryce was feeling lost, and the side effect of this drug is mania, psychosis, and depression. I think in a manic fit, Bryce broke up with his girlfriend and then planned his suicide. I mean, he obviously loved video games and he gifted his Xbox to his roommate. I think he planned it and failed until he succeeded. I just wish that the people around him had gotten him help when this all began. It might have changed this outcome. And I say might because I just wish that the people around him had gotten him help when this all began. It might have changed this outcome. And I say might because it could have ended similarly too. Drug abuse is so unpredictable because you are dealing with people who are just desperate for a way out of their own heads. Because even the happiest of people who turn to drug abuse, it causes imbalances in your brain. So these aren't happy people anymore, not naturally. And drug abuse is just so unpredictable, and if you weren't depressed before, you are now. And if you were depressed before, you're even more depressed because now your brain clinically isn't working right and is now dependent. It's something that takes a lot of willpower and thought that some just can't handle alone, and even with help, some just can't get out. They're just chasing that feeling, and they're trying to fill this big hole within themselves that some just can never fill. I have many people that I love and loved that fell victim to this, and it's hard to watch, and it's even more hard to come to terms with the fact that you aren't the one that can save them. Some people need someone that can push them in all the right ways, and you might not be it, so you have to try your best and wait and hope this person is independent enough to do it alone, or that someone will come along and be what they need and say what they need to hear to recognize their worth. And it's not always what you're saying, because it really is in the delivery of what you're saying. This whole topic itself is so complex, and people are all so different, everyone is so different. And I think more work needs to be done in this area of mental health and substance abuse, because it's kind of alarming to think that our society is so dependent on other things to make us happy. Substance abuse is something that everyone is aware of. Everyone knows someone who has fell victim to it, and it doesn't stop with drugs. It goes on to alcohol, and not even just that, but money, gambling, and food addictions, and all these things that trigger that happy little chemical in your brain. Because we all have our own struggles that we are searching for a cure for, that's really inside ourselves. These issues and problems that we need to consult but never do, and just lock away, that for some leads to substance abuse. And Bryce Laspisa was a victim of that. My heart goes out to this family, and I hope he is someday found so that he and his family can be at peace. Thank you so much for watching today. I will see you next time, my spooky friends. Please take care of yourselves. Please be kind and loving to yourselves and each other. It is so hard to just be alive, and just know you are never alone. Remind yourself of what you do have and be grateful, if not anything, but for yourself. I'm grateful you are here. I'm grateful for so much, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful to be alive, because there are so many that would do anything to be in my position and yours. So remind yourself of those things and take a big breath and know that it'll be okay. Everything is temporary.